Right. Let's just jump straight into this explainer and explore the absolutely fascinating psychology behind why we actually do the things we do. Because, let's be real, if you've ever stopped in the middle of a chaotic day and wondered, why am I working this hard? Or why does a good night's sleep literally change my entire outlook on life? You're already tapping into the core of today's topic. We're going to look at the invisible architecture that dictates our daily lives.
So I want you to think about this fundamental mystery for just a second. What invisible forces are actually driving your behavior? Every single decision you make, from hitting the snooze button for the third time in the morning to accepting a massive new job offer, is propelled by a deeply ingrained set of needs. We aren't just bouncing around reacting randomly to the world. We're driven by a highly structured biological and psychological engine.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for the explainer today. 1. Decoding human motivation. 2. Foundation, survival and safety. 3. Connection, love, and belonging. 4. Validation, the esteem needs. 5. The peak, self-actualization. And finally 6. Criticisms and personal growth.
Section 1. Decoding Human Motivation. Abraham Maslow and the Pyramid. Let's start our climb by meeting the psychologist who completely changed the game, Abraham Maslow. Instead of just focusing on what breaks in the human mind, he wanted to understand what makes us thrive, what fundamentally drives us toward growth. Introduced back in the mid-20th century, his hierarchy of needs is basically a blueprint for understanding ourselves. It argues that our desires aren't just a random jumble, they're actually categorized into 5 fundamental levels, and they activate in a very specific, prioritized order.
It's a lot like building a house. You literally can't put a roof on a house that doesn't have walls. And you definitely can't worry about fulfilling your ultimate creative potential if you haven't had a glass of water in 3 days. The lower needs demand our absolute attention first.
Moving into Section 2, Foundation, Survival, and Safety, covering levels 1 and 2. Let's examine what happens when our most basic survival is on the line. We're talking about the absolute non-negotiables of human existence here. To understand physiological needs, air, water, food, shelter, sleep, think of homeostasis like a biological thermostat that's constantly working to keep you balanced. If your body temperature drops, the thermostat kicks in and makes you shiver. Dehydrated, it triggers immense thirst. This is level 1, because if these fundamental needs are denied, literally nothing else matters. Your brain will hijack your entire focus. You're not going to care about making friends or getting a promotion if you're starving. Your whole being is just consumed by the drive to restore that internal balance. Once that biological thermostat is stabilized, boom, we immediately look for safety, which is level 2. Now, back in the day, early humans were looking for primitive safety, escaping a literal predator, finding a sturdy cave. Actually, scratch that. Today, our safety needs look completely different on the surface, but they feel exactly the same to our nervous system. We're seeking the modern security of financial stability, having health insurance, building up a savings account. A sudden job loss today, it triggers the exact same safety alarms in your brain as a predator did thousands of years ago. We just fundamentally crave predictability and control.
Section 3. Connection, Love, and Belonging. Level 3. Once we're fed and secure, the whole tone warms up as we enter the social layer. Our focus shifts outward.
We are inherently social creatures, right? So once we aren't terrified for our immediate physical safety, we actively seek out connection, friendships, deep family bonds, community integration. We want to love, and we really need to be loved. We crave being part of a group, whether that's a sports team, a religious organization, or just your tight-knit friend group.
And I want you to reflect on this for a moment, because this isn't just about getting the warm fuzzies. It is a critical psychological requirement. The harsh reality is that isolation leads to deep loneliness and depression. When our need for belonging is starved, the psychological pain is profound. We see major, measurable declines in both mental and physical health when people are cut off from their community.
Which brings us to Section 4, Validation, the esteem needs. Level 4. Now that we feel loved and part of the group, we climb higher. We want to be valued by that group, and we want to value ourselves.
Esteem is actually split into 2 distinct tracks. On one side, you've got internal mastery, your internal confidence, your belief in your own skills, that feeling of independence. But on the other side, you have external validation, the respect, status, recognition, and prestige you get from your peers. A healthy person really needs a balance of both. If you only rely on external recognition, your self-worth becomes incredibly fragile. But when you build genuine internal mastery, that external respect almost always follows organically.
Section 5. The Peak, Self-Actualization. Level 5. With immense energy and momentum, we finally reach the ultimate goal of human motivation.
The foundation is stable, the bonds are secure, self-esteem is high. We are ready for the top.
This is where you transcend those basic needs and strive for ultimate personal mastery and fulfillment. Self-actualization is the burning desire to accomplish everything you can possibly accomplish, to become the absolute most that you can be. It's about creative expression, pursuing knowledge, giving back to society. You're no longer trying to fix a deficit like being hungry or lonely. You are entirely focused on pure growth.
Just take a second and let Maslow's powerful anthem sink in. What a man can be, he must be. That quote perfectly encapsulates self-actualization. If you're uniquely wired to be an artist, an inventor, a parent, a leader, you are going to feel this restless, driving urge to fulfill that specific potential. It's the ultimate expression of your individual capabilities.
Section 6. Criticisms and Personal Growth, a reality check. Because, look, no psychological model is perfect, and Maslow's hierarchy is certainly no exception. We have to step back and look at the scientific reality here.
Critics rightly point out three major flaws. First, there's a lack of hard scientific backing. Empirical research just doesn't perfectly align with these exact 5 tiers. Second, human motivation is way more flexible than a rigid step-by-step pyramid implies. I mean, history is literally full of starving artists who prioritize creativity over their basic need for food or safety. And third, the model has cultural biases. It leans heavily towards Western individualism, where self-actualization is the ultimate peak, whereas a lot of collectivist cultures might place community and belonging at the absolute top of human achievement.
But here's why we still talk about it today. Despite the scientific limitations, this model is a brilliant diagnostic tool for navigating your own life. If you're feeling stuck, you can use the pyramid to diagnose the gap. Are you feeling unfulfilled creatively because actually you're just exhausted and lacking basic sleep? Are you struggling at work because your esteem needs aren't being met? It gives us a fantastic framework to understand our own feelings.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on as you go about your day. Look at your current goals, your frustrations, your joys. Which level of the pyramid are you currently climbing? By understanding the invisible architecture of your own motivation, you gain the power to consciously build the exact life you want. Thanks for exploring this with me today, and keep climbing.